Hi all, good morning, good afternoon. So let's see today how I can leverage advanced cluster management to create a single node cluster. See, yes, now it's possible. Now I can create a single node enterprise OpenShift cluster. Yes, that is more from a edge kind of use cases or for a telecom related workload. And in this video, I will walk through step by step how I can create a single node OpenShift cluster on a bare metal. So right now what you see is a advanced cluster management console, and yeah, from cluster I can go and I can always create a cluster. But right now the first thing what I would have to do is create an infrastructure environment for my bare metal. I will go and you have to click on this create infrastructure environment. Okay. Just provide the names, whether you want to use a DHCP or a static IP. Right now I would be using a DHCP server. I have a DHCP server, and where is the location? This is to identify where you are deploying, and for me the location is a lab, so I have provided those labs. And you need to provide a pull secret. Those secret is from where you can download all those images, so it will be redirecting to your console.redhat.com, and from there you can have a full secret. Now the SSH public key you will have to provide. That means you have to create a user, and a public key you will have to provide so that I can do a passwordless authentication to my node. So you would be providing this public key. And yes, let me fetch those public key. Yeah, I have my public key. If you want to set up a cluster-wide proxy, you can enable, but I don't need a proxy. And I'm just giving a name to SNO, single node OpenShift cluster. So this is where my infrastructure environment is created, but I do not have any host added. What I will do, I will add a host, and it gives me a two way to do that by using an ISO file which I can boot, or I can use a BMC, baseboard management controller, where you have to provide all those MAC address and a username and credentials of the management URL, and you are good to go. So the first of all what I will do, I'm just trying to get those images. Yeah, so I will fast forward this part. Yes, now my images are available. Yes, now the image is available. Now what I will do, this is what you see is my IDRS rack. This is for from a Dell server. It's a Dell bare metal PowerEdge R7330, and by using this management IP, I can upload. I'm trying to upload that ISO file as a virtual disk. So I will go. I will click. This is my the management console from where I see virtual. I will connect my virtual device. I will map. I will just go and click the OK. This is my Discovery ISO. I will map the device and I will start booting up. The first thing which you have to do, you have to go in a boot manager, and you will have to boot the OS with this ISO file. Perfect. Now entering into a boot manager, the first you will have to go and select yes, boot from the OS. It's been booting up, and I'm just providing the name server so that I can get it resolved over an internet. So I'm providing a name server to get internet connectivity, and this is I am passing as a kernel parameter. So what I did, first of all, I created an infrastructure environment. After getting infrastructure environment, I added a host. For adding a host, I get two ways to do that: ISO or BMC. I selected the ISO method. I downloaded those ISO file. I uploaded on my bare on my physical server to boot. So this booting will take some time. I will try to forward, and once the boot is successful, you will see the host appearing in my ACM management console on over here. So let's the boot process start. It is still booting up. It will take some time. So what I'm doing, I am fast forwarding that part. Yes, yes, yeah. And the device, it says, so again host, yes. And it's still activating. It will take some time for me. I think it took around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. And once it is completed, so once the OS is completed, it will go and start a lot of processes. One of the processes, it will start all those kubelet or the agent, so that it can control and install all those OpenShift images. So it's still booting up, and yes. And now let's see, node is has been provided, and you can see over here the node, the host name is the node which has been provided. It has been discovered. Now you have to go and approve. I have done a manual approve, and yes, my host is available in my infrastructure environment. So I just need a single node, so I'm good to go to deploy a single node OpenShift cluster. The next thing what I will do is I will go to my cluster. I will click on create cluster. So yeah, and what I will have to choose, I will have to choose a centrally managed on premises, because this is a bare metal on prem. I will choose that. Next, you will have to provide the cluster name and base domain name. And this is what, if you are aware of OpenShift, this cluster name and base domain name is important, and this is how your APIs or star.apps URL would be created. And most important things, to install a single node OpenShift cluster, you will have to click over here, so that it will only accept a one node. Now again the same thing, you will have to pass the pull secret. If the next step is, do you have any Ansible script? For example, ACM provides a feature to during a cluster create, if you want to run any of the automation template or any of the Ansible uh, uh, playbook, if you want to run, you can provide those details over here, and that you will have to create in the automation section. But for this timing, I do not have any such requirement, so I will just move on to the next step. And it's an optional, so I don't have to do. So I'm just reviewing. Okay, fine, this is where my name is. I will save. And yeah, I need to have only one cluster. I'm just selecting which lab. Okay, this is my lab. I got a 12 CPU and memories. I'm doing next, which is fine. DNS is fine, and it will take some time. When you detect those hosts, it will do some binding to verify whether my host is still active, and all those required for the NIC and available subnets, those are ready. So it might take a few minutes over here to detect a discovery. Now you can see it is started discovering. I'm doing a fast forward, and once the sorry, my bad. So it has bound. Okay. Now once it has bound, I have, so once it is bound, I have selected the subnet also. This is the active subnet which it would be using. And if I have to provide the SSH key, or any other configuration or SDN, I can do that. Next is save and install. So what it will do, it will start creating the other things, and it will start preparing for the installation. Now that's the whole step you have to perform. How easy is to deploy on a bare metal with the assistive installer. This is an assistive installer, and you have to just sit down and relax, get some coffee, make some coffee, and it will take, for me it has taken around 20 to 30 minutes. It will take around those time, and it will start building up your cluster. So first of all, it will be start preparing your installation. So I'm doing just fast forwarding. Once your preparation is done, it will start installing those configurations. It will keep on installing 5 cross 10. It will, the bare metal would be started up. It will takes, and it will starting up, installing. Yes, it is still installing. Mm, and once the installation is completed, so in that it would be rebooting. So as I said, it would be rebooted multiple times, and yes, it has been, machine is automatically, it would be rebooted. It will complete all the steps. Again, I'm going in a very fast forward mode. Okay, and once the rebooting installed, the host completed installation successfully. Voila. So automatically it will take care if you get some error and other things. You have all the installation steps where it is been stacking, what are the cluster event is going on. Even if you can get the download the installation logs. Okay, now some initialization is going on. Once the initialization is completed, it's still not completed yet. All those deployment is up and running now, just initialization, so my cluster is up and running and it's all in a healthy state. So it will keep on in the initialization phase. And once my initialization, now you can see, okay, my operator and other things. You can view on the cluster events. It will keep you the details. So once you have all those details, cluster events ready, when it get 100% completed, now you can see it has completed to 100%. Now you can see it has the deployment of 498 version. I can go, I can see my control plane, my node is available. I can get, you can see on this console, I can get my cluster APIs, other things. And if I go and if I try to open the console, this is my single node cluster URL. So I have opened that URL. I can go and I can get the kubeadmin password, and this is where I can say, okay, these are the policies which are getting, still it's going on, so that ACM will add those agents add-ons, so that it's get completed. And now you can see my new cluster has been added successfully. It is on version 4.9.18, and it's a single node cluster. If you see the nodes, I just have a single nodes, and this is the management console. What you can see of my single node cluster. And if I'm just interested in the HCD. Now you can see I just have one HCD node. I do not have a quorum. It's not an high available. It's not running in a HA. It's a single node. So that's where my single node HCD is running. And now you saw how easy is to deploy a OpenShift cluster using a single node OpenShift cluster using HCM. So that's all for this video. I have given all those steps. Some of them I have forwarded, but if you have any queries, anything, please do add your comment. Thank you.